equal to work. So that is kinetic energy, which is equal to half into mv square, where m, which is equal to mass of the moving object, v, which is equal to velocity of the moving object. So the mass of the moving air, which is equal to density, volume, that indicates the area and the distance. So in general, the power from the wind, it is equal to work divided by time. That indicates with the kinetic energy divided by time, that which is equal to half into mv square divided by time. So if you are arriving from this, we can write that the power in the wind, which is equal to half into rho into a into v cube. That is, the power is directly proportional to the cube of the wind speed. So as an electrical engineer, we need to understand this. So from this, how we are doing the power, how we are extracting power from the wind turbine system. So power from the wind turbine rotor, which is equal to this one. Here Cp represents the power coefficient. It is not strong non-linear power coefficient. So what is the maximum amount of energy that can be extracted from the wind? So here it is indicated. You see that the power from the wind, that it is indicated this one, and the wind characteristics, it is represented power with respect to the wind. It has been represented with the three regions: region 1, region 2, region 3, like this. This is what the typical wind curve. The region 1 ends with the cut-in speed. One is having, if you are having the wind turbine speed which is equal to less than cut-in speed, it should be moved to the parking mode or braking mode. The above the cut-in speed, the wind power it starts produce. So if you are referring this characteristics looks to be. So this characteristics, this portion of the characteristic, it looks to be the cube of the wind speed. Once it is reaches with the rated speed, so the power it is equal to constant, that it is indicated. And once it is reaches with the cutout speed. So cutout speed, it is indicated that wind speed where energy production ends. Cut-in speed represents the wind speed where the energy production begins. That means the beginning is here, the end is here. So within the speed only it is possible to operate. When the speed is more than this, we cannot operate the wind speed. When the speed is less than this, we cannot operate the wind speed. So the power is directly proportional to the cube of the wind speed. The tip speed ratio is the ratio of the speed of the rotating blade tip to the speed of the free stream wind, so that it is indicated. This is what the Cp versus the tip speed characteristics. We can understand that the Cp characteristics with respect to the tip speed, all the value of the tip speed, the Cp, it is not maximum. One particular value of the tip speed only it is maximum. So in that particular value of the tip speed ratio only we can extract the maximum power. So that means the Cp is maximum. Once again, we are referring the power from the wind. The power from the wind turbine rotor is directly proportional to the cube of the wind. So coming to the power electronics. Power electronics controllers for renewable energy applications. So for drive applications, the power electronic role of power electronic controller is the input for the power electronic controller is fixed input voltage, and output it will be the variable or controllable output voltage. So in the case of renewable energy applications, the input it will be the variable input voltage, and output it will be the suppose if the system is a standalone system or isolated case, it will be the constant or regulated DC or AC voltage. With the MPPT control, it is possible. So in the case of grid connected system, both the real and the reactive power, it will be possible. So we can understand from the drive application and the renewable energy application, the input is fixed for drive applications, the input is variable for renewable energy applications. So for grid connected system, I said that real and reactive power control it is possible. So let us discuss about the wind energy conversion system. Basically, it is classified into classified as the two system. Basically, it is classified as a two system. One is a grid connected system. The another one is called as a standalone system. So the various components are related to the wind energy conversion system. It is indicated here. So the first one is a rotor. The second one is, I mean, the wind turbine. Second one is, it is indicated as the power transmission. That means from the wind, through the gearbox, the mechanical power, it will be transferred to the machine. So then the output power of the generator, the machine, electric machine, it will be acting as a generator. This machine, the output power of the generator, it is fed to the power converter. So the directly one is observing the output from the power converter, that we can feed it to the isolated load, or it is called as a standalone, or otherwise it is possible to feed to the grid. So through the power transformer to match the voltages. So my talk is related to the how to select the type of generators. So various types of generators which is available, like a permanent magnet synchronous generator, doubly fed induction generators, squirrel cage induction generators, like. So in general, with respect to the wind turbine concept, there are two types of wind turbines which is available. One is a fixed speed wind turbine, another one is a variable speed wind turbine. So the fixed speed wind turbine, normally we cannot find in the field. So it high mechanical during the gusty wind, so limits the area of the turbine. Synchronous generators, induction generators are employed. And a variable speed wind turbine operates at variable speed, single or two-stage gearbox. Two-stage gearbox we were using. Possible to incorporate the MPPT, increase the energy output of the turbine. So permanent magnet synchronous generator, doubly fed induction generator, wound rotor induction generators are commonly employed. So for the fixed speed generators, let us consider the wind turbines always operates with a fixed speed. So we can see that the comparison between the synchronous generator and a squirrel cage induction generator. So the synchronous generator, the speed of the synchronous generator, it is always constant in the sense the frequency of the generator voltage, generator frequency, it is constant. Since F which is equal to Pn divided by 120, and this is the synchronous generator directly connected to the grid. You see that here. So the lagging and the leading power factor is a power factor of operation. It is possible by applying the field control, and the synchronization is needed always. Separate DC supply is required. So coming to the squirrel cage induction generator, it is connected with the infinite bus bar or grid. So when the N is greater than Ns, I mean the rotor speed of the machine, it is greater than the synchronous speed. It is a rugged construction, and synchronization is not required. A singly fed machine, and the lagging power factor operation, it is there. For improving the power factor, we can connect the capacitor at the stator terminal. So capacitors are used for the reactive power compensation. So the coming to the variable speed generators. So the variable speed generators are for permanent magnet synchronous generators, squirrel cage induction generator, wound rotor induction generator, doubly fed induction generator, like this. So let us consider the permanent magnet synchronous generator. This permanent magnet synchronous generators are famous for low and medium wind applications. So the output of here, there is no excitation is required for the rotor terminal, and the power output from the permanent magnet synchronous generator is directly fed to the PWM rectifier and the PWM inverter and fed to the grid. So here we can see that the PWM rectifier and PWM inverters are full rated power electronic converters. So synchronization problem, complexity of the control is required. Coming to the squirrel cage induction generator. So here it is the squirrel cage induction generators are rugged construction and a singly fed machine. So here we can use the PWM rectifier and PWM inverter system similar to the permanent magnet synchronous generator, and the full rated power electronic controllers only we were using, but the wide variable frequency range for the optimal operation is applicable. Reactive power compensated by the PWM rectifier, and synchronization problem and the complexity of the control is also there with respect to the squirrel cage induction generator. So coming to the wound rotor induction generator. So in the wound rotor induction generator, slip ring induction machines are employed. Uh, so simple system due to the control of single power electronic switch. So here the rotor side only we were using the power electronic controller. So when you are using the power electronic controller in the rotor side, the size of the power electronic controllers, it is very less. It is slip power only, not full power rating, and the stator is directly connected to the grid. And if you want to pump the power from both the stator and the rotor, we require the back-to-back power converter system. Here the advantage is the power rating of the power converter, it will be slip power rated only, not a full power rated. So in this regard, for variable speed application, we can prefer the W-fed induction generator. But the problem with the W-fed induction generator is frequent maintenance. I mean, there should be some maintenance with the slip rings and the brushes. So nowadays, with the advent of the power electronics technology, for example, the GaN devices and silicon carbide devices, the size it will be less. Size may not be the problems. Then we can go with the screw gauge induction generator itself, because the screw gauge induction generator is a very rugged construction, and it is applicable for any kind of environment. So this is when the alternator it is connected with the infinite bus bar. Basically, it is a doubly fed machine. Voltage control means the field control is required. The frequency control means the speed. It is a speed and phase sequence. Real power input is the mechanical power input. Reactive power input is the reactive power control is the voltage control or frequency control. It is possible. So for the analysis of the synchronous machine, we can employ this kind of equivalent circuit. One is the back EMF or generated voltage, we can call it. Then this is what the synchronous impedance and the load which it is connected. This is for the isolated case. So when the grid connected induction generator, that means without having the power electronic controllers, the induction machine, it is operated as a generator when the speed of the machine, I mean the rotor speed of the machine, it is greater than the synchronous speed. I mean the frequency of the stator, it is dictated by the grid. So that means, so when the speed of the machine, it is greater than the synchronous speed, then only the machine, it will pump the power. Less than the synchronous speed, the machine may not work as a generator. For steady state analysis, this equivalent circuit itself, it is sufficient. Only thing is the slip of the machine, it is going to be negative. So again, here we are using with the squirrel gauge induction machine. It is a rotor is a very rugged, already I told you, absence of slip rings and brushes, no separate DC source for excitation, easy maintenance, simple to connect a grid synchronization. Rated power will be delivered for a slip of about 6% in the laboratory size machine, 5 to 10 kVA, and less than 2% for the high capacity machine. So sometimes we can have the capacitors at the stator terminal to improve the power factor at the power factor. So generator operating power factor remains the same. So we want to see that how the induction motor and the induction generator it is operated. So let us consider the induction motor is connected with the infinite bus bar. Induction generator is connected with the infinite bus bar. So let us consider the phasor diagram. We use the reference phasor. So this is a real component of the current is in phase with the voltage, and the reactive component of the current it is represented here. So that means the real power it is in phase with the real component of the current, and the reactive component is in phase with the reactive component of the current. That means P is here, Q is here, and the complex power is here. So from this we can understand that the real power flow direction in this direction and the reactive power flow direction is in this direction with respect to the motoring mode of operation. Coming to the generator mode of operation, the real power, this real power, it should be opposite to the direction of the motoring mode, but the reactive power direction, it is same. So here now the generator current, it is indicated here. So that means the real power direction, it will be opposite. This we need to be understand with respect to the usage of the induction generators in wind driven applications. So for the operation of induction machines, both as a generator or motor, it requires or consumes a large amount of reactive power from the grid. So coming to the self-excited induction generators. The term self-excitation means that we are referring always the DC machine. There are three types of self-excited machines are available. One is series machine, shunt machine, and compound machine. So there the winding, I mean the field winding, it is connected in parallel to the armature means it is called as a shunt machine. The field winding, it is connected in series with the armature, then it is called as a series machine, series generator. And a compound machine, I mean the both the series field and the shunt field, if it is present, that it is called as a compound. So the same self-excitation process we can create instead of using the infinite bus bar. Here, for the reactive power support for the induction machine, we are connecting the capacitors at the stator terminal of the induction generator. Then this induction machine and the capacitor we are using for creating the self-excitation, and the voltage and the frequency which is available directly, which we are feeding to the load. And the problem with the self-excited induction generator, I mean, when you are using the variable speed applications, the voltage and the frequency which is equal to variable, then this type of generator, it is applicable for variable speed operations. So the reactive power requirement of the generator and
just
the load
excuse me. Sanil Kumar sir?
Yes.
Just 1 minute, sir. Just to give one announcement, sir.
Yes.
The Zoom meeting, this free version is going to end by another 8 minutes. Again, all the participants have to log in with the same meeting ID to continue with the session.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you please inform me, Sai Kumar.
Yes, sir. Once now 8 minutes left, sir. Again, we have to log in with the same meeting ID so that we have to so that only we can continue with the session.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine.
Okay, sir.
So the residual, the process of self-excitation meets with, I mean, if you want to create the self-excitation, residual flux is it should be there, similar to the DC machine, and minimum rotor speed it is there, minimum value of the capacitance it is required. In the case of DC machine, we require the minimum, I mean, the critical field resistance like that. The same concept it is applicable. Instead of critical field resistance, here we are going to use the critical value of the capacitor. For SEIG or capacitor excited induction generators, both the terminal voltage and the frequency it is depends upon speed, excitation parameters, load parameters, and generator parameters. The output is a variable voltage and a variable frequency. So this is very, very important concept with respect to the variable speed wind turbine application. So when the speed is variable, that time you want to make it as a generator, the output is a variable voltage and a variable frequency. So then, so directly we cannot feed it to the load, because every load, for isolated load, the voltage value is fixed. For example, if you are considering the ceiling fan, voltage value which is equal to 230 volt 50 hertz. So similarly for the three-phase machine, 400 volt 50 hertz. So from the generator, we got variable voltage and variable frequency. Then we need to have the power electronic controller. The role of the power electronic controller is converts variable voltage, variable frequency to fixed voltage, fixed frequency. So the process of self-excitation is how it will be. So in general, the magnetization characteristics for the DC machine, we used to represent with the generator voltage with respect to the field current. So here we are representing the air gap voltage versus the field current. Field current means the magnetizing current. This is what. So for the particular value of the capacitance reactance line, this voltage it will be generator, and the decreased value of the capacitor voltage. So then you are having your characteristics, it will be there. So if you are further decreasing the value of the capacitor, it will lose the self-excitation. So we can see that the operating region of the self-excited induction generator is always the saturated portion of the magnetization characteristics. Now we see that the equivalent circuit of the induction generator, self-excited induction generator. This equivalent circuit already we have seen earlier. So here also the slip it will be negative. So only thing is a variable voltage, variable frequency which is available at the stator terminal. So for exciting this, we are using the excitation capacitor and the load. So the reflected load, the power electronics along with the DC load or AC load is reflected as a resistance and inductance. So all the reactance are corresponds to the rated frequency. So here the important thing we can understand that the output of the stator is variable voltage and variable frequency. It is unknown parameter, and this variable frequency it is reflects with the magnetizing reactance also. Sometimes if you are referring the literatures, they used to be considered with the RM. RM is also depends upon this parameter. I mean the frequency of the generated voltage. In this regard, the analysis it will be very complex. So we can apply any one of the numerical methods or optimization technique to solve the performance of the generators for wind-driven generators for the given value of the speed. So here the objective is we want to evaluate XM, then voltage, frequency. Without knowing these parameters, it is not possible to find it out the entire parameters of the machine. So this is that, and we were developed the we were modified the equivalent circuit like considering Fg which is equal to generator frequency, Fr which is equal to rated frequency, N which is equal to actual speed, Nr which is equal to rated speed, and Nsg which is equal to synchronous speed, A which is equal to per unit frequency Fg divided by Fr, B which is equal to per unit speed N divided by Nr. So one is considering X1 which is equal to 2 pi f L1 and X1g which is equal to generator frequency which is equal to 2 pi Fg divided by L1. Then Fg divided by Fr into this one that indicates with the A into X1 where A represents the per unit frequency. Similarly, the slip can be arrived with A minus B divided by A. So this is what unknowingly or unknowingly this we are converting with in terms of A minus B for the simplification of the analysis. This is what the reflected resistance and the reflected reactance at the stator terminal. So for computing this, we require the for computing the performance of the generator, we require R1, R2, X1, X2, Rx. Rx means this one, the load, reflected resistance, the reflected reactance, and the capacitance value. Then E versus Xm characteristics. In this regard, either we can go with the loop impedance method. In the loop impedance method, we can write it that IZ which is equal to 0. Since under steady state condition, I is not equal to 0, it follows Z which is equal to 0. Or we can apply the nodal admittance method. So in the nodal admittance method, we E into Y which is equal to 0. Under steady state condition, E may not be 0 and Y follows the 0. Then we can fix the objective function. So based on this, we can find it out the performance parameters. So conventionally, we can find it out R1, X1, R2, X2, that may not be the problem. So that E versus Xm characteristics, it is very much essential for simulating or predetermining the performance of the induction machine. So in this regard, the magnetization characteristics of the induction machine can be obtained at a rated frequency of 50 Hz, that is A which is equal to 1 per unit. So for this, the rotor of the induction machine was driven by a separately excited DC motor at a constant speed of 1500 RPM for 4-pole machine. So then B which is equal to 1, that means A which is equal to B. Then A which is equal to B in the sense this part which is equal to 0, then the circuit it will be open circuited. Then your equivalent circuit it will be modified like this. Then the E versus Xm characteristics it is possible to compute. So if you are varying the voltage with respect to the auto transformer, then current also it will be varying. So this is what the from this variable voltage and variable current we can draw the magnetization characteristics. Once we are knowing the magnetization characteristics, it is possible to compute E versus Xm characteristics. So this is what the performance of the SEIG with a for R load and RL load, that is a unity power factor load and a lagging power factor load. Here you see that the characteristics, when the load on the machine it is increases, that means the power output of the machine it is increases. So when the power output is increases, the corresponding terminal voltage it is going to be reduces. This is what the terminal voltage. So the